Welcome back to the Explainer. So, you're here because you want to nail down a super specific, highly technical procedure, right? Today, we are tackling the Bombardier Q400 aircraft rudder actuator test. And honestly, my goal for this Explainer is simple. By the time we're done here, you are going to have perfectly memorized all 8 steps of this exact test. Seriously, without skipping a single detail. We're not just going to dryly read a checklist together. We're going to build a mental model so strong that this entire sequence is going to become second nature to you.
To pull this off, we're going to use a really fun cognitive framing trick that I like to call the Q400 rudder sandwich. Instead of trying to just brute force memorize 8 completely disconnected steps from a manual, which, let's face it, never works, we're going to use visual chunking. Think about the beautiful repeating symmetry of a perfectly built sandwich. You've got your top bun, right? That's our setup. Then you've got the meat and cheese right in the middle, which will be our System 1 and System 2 OMMO loops. And hey, don't worry, I'll explain exactly what OMMO stands for in just a second. And finally, you have the bottom bun, which is our teardown. This little framing trick is practically guaranteed to permanently install this exact technical checklist right into your memory.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap. Section 1, the Q400 rudder sandwich. Section 2, top bun, steering off. Then we hit Layer 1, System 1, and Layer 2, System 2. After that is our bottom bun, steering on, and we'll wrap it all up with an effortless memory check.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the Q400 rudder sandwich, creating your mental framework. Moving right along to Section 2, top bun, steering off, setting up the test.
And here we go, the exact first step. Nose wheel steering switch off. That is step number 1 of 8. Listen, before you test the rudder actuators on the Q400, you absolutely must turn the nose wheel steering switch to the off position. This safely initiates the whole procedure and sets the stage for your core system checks. So go ahead and lock that into your mind right now. The top bun is nose wheel steering off.
Section 3, Layer 1, System 1. The OMO loop for RDUD1. This brings us to the first layer of the meat. To master this part effortlessly, we use the OMO loop, which maps perfectly to your exact steps. Off, move, on. Simple, right? O stands for off. First, you take the RUD1 push-off switch and you literally push off. When you do this, you must observe the illumination of the number 1 RUD HYD caution light. Okay, next is M for move. You take the rudder pedals and you move them left and right. While moving them, you've got to check the PFCS indication on the number 1 MFD, that's your multifunction display, by the way, to check for rudder travel. Finally, the last O stands for on. You take that exact same RUD1 push-off switch and you push on. You then observe that the number 1 RUD HYD caution light goes out. Off, move, on. Just like that, steps 2, 3, and 4 are entirely locked in.
All right, Section 4, Layer 2, System 2, the symmetrical mirror.
Now, this right here brilliantly illustrates exactly why visual framing is so unbelievably powerful. Notice how the System 1 OMO loop and the System 2 OMO loop are practically identical? The exact same phrasing applies. To breathe through steps 5, 6, and 7, your cognitive load is quite literally cut in half. You are simply swapping the number 1 for the number 2 when you're looking at your push-up switches and your caution lights.
Let's formally spell out this System 2 OMO sequence, just to be thorough. O for off, RUD2 push-off switch, push off. You observe the illumination of the number 2 RUD hide caution light. Then M for move, rudder pedals, move left and right. Now stop. Pay attention, because the crucial point is right here on step 6. When you move the pedals, you check the PFC's indication on the number 1 MFD for rudder travel. Yep, this is the ultimate trap. Even though you are testing System 2, you still check the indication on the number 1 MFD exactly like you did for System 1. Finally, the last O for on, RUD2 push-off switch, push on, and you observe the number 2 RUD hide caution light go out.
Section 5, bottom bun, steering on, completing the sequence.
And here is step number 8, the exact final step of the procedure. Nose wheel steering switch on. Remember how we started the whole thing by turning it off? Well, we close the loop and secure the system by turning it right back on. The beautiful symmetry of the Q400 rudder sandwich is complete. Setup off, OMO loop 1, OMO loop 2, tear down on. Done.
Finally, Section 6, the effortless memory check, locking in the sequence.
Let's review this ultimate cheat sheet we've put together, mapping out all 8 steps from top to bottom. Do you see the symmetry now? Top on, nose wheel steering off. Layer 1, System 1 push off, observe light 1. Move pedals, check MFD 1. Push on, observe light 1 out. Then Layer 2, System 2 push off, observe light 2. Move pedals, check MFD 1. Remember that trap we talked about? Push on, observe light 2 out. And finally, the bottom bun, nose wheel steering on. 8 steps, 0 skipped, perfectly organized in your mind.
Which brings me to one final provocative question for you to take away. If you look down in that cockpit and see that the nose wheel steering is switched back on, is the sandwich finished? Yes, it absolutely is. It's a wrap. If you can remember how to build a sandwich, you can completely and effortlessly memorize the Bombardier Q400 aircraft rudder actuator test. Thank you so much for joining me for this explanator today. Keep utilizing these structured visual frameworks, and happy learning.